Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Transfer News Latest, where I go over the most recent transfers of the last 24 hours. So, if I may start with what I forgot to mention last night, and that is Mathis Amougou will leave Chelsea and go to Strasbourg for £8 million, after he only just joined Chelsea in the January transfer window. So, I will be honest, this does make me think what was the point of him buying him in the first place, because from what I've seen he's only played 22 minutes and they basically bought him from France, they played him for 22 minutes and then they're just selling him again. That was probably one of the most pointless transfers I've ever seen. And now, 24 hours later, we have more on the Noni Madueke story, and that's the medical is scheduled soon with Madueke to fly over from the US to complete that medical, and Arsenal and Chelsea will agree a £52 million deal for him. So this means now that Arsenal have spent £115 million for Kai Havertz and Noni Madueke, which means that they've basically just paid off Moises Caicedo. Well, the amount we paid for Moises Caicedo. Arsenal basically paid that off. So this does beg the question, why are Arsenal buying all of Chelsea's players? Which could be actually a good title for a video I might make one day. We'll see. Plus, it's interesting that it's only been under Arteta as well. Because if you take a look, since Arteta's taken over, he's gone and bought Jorginho, David Luiz, Willian, Kai Havertz, Kepa, and now Madueke. And I'm certain there's a whole lot more. Raheem Sterling, he came on loan. I think that's it, but I'm pretty sure there are more. Anyway, is he a bit like Sir Jim Ratcliffe and he just has a bit of a weird obsession with Chelsea? Because that's basically what it's looking like. And in some different news, Brentford are set to sign Jordan Henderson, who's just left Ajax upon the expiry of his contract. So, the Here We Go has been confirmed and everything. The medical is set to be done in the next few days. And in addition, Fenerbahce are close to a deal with Marco Asensio, who's agreed to the personal terms, and the green light is needed for PSG. And in other news, from a few hours ago now actually, Djordje Petrovic to Bournemouth is a here we go. He will undergo a medical in the next day, and the deal is said to have been worth £25 million. Now this I think is a real shame, because in the middle of the Pochettino season, so 23-24, he took over from Robert Sanchez, who had been shit. And he did really, really well. If you ask me, he's probably, apart from Cole Palmer, he's probably one of the main reasons we actually managed to get Conference League football in the first place. So, if you ask me, it's a real shame and it's really unfair that he's just getting forced out of the club now. And what's worse is he's being forced out in favour of Robert Sanchez, who basically has 2 feet for hands, as we've seen, because he's been terrible. So instead of buying a new goalkeeper, Chelsea already have this competent goalkeeper and they're selling him on. Come on, why? And there is a lot of additional news from Chelsea. I promise I'm not biased. It's just there's just a lot of stuff from Chelsea because, you know, they bought so much, so now they're just trying to balance their books. So, once the Club World Cup is over, Chelsea will proceed with Mike Penders' loan to Strasbourg. And this came through by Kieran Gill, who writes for the Daily Mail. And Chelsea believe that he'll be a future top goalkeeper. And honestly, I hope so, because the way people are talking about him, he sounds like he's the regen for Thibaut Courtois. So, hopefully he can get that game time to prove that he will be good enough to surpass whatever keeper Chelsea comes out has by the time he gets good enough. And then also a bit more from yesterday's news about Nicholas Jackson. AC Milan. Well, I said in yesterday's episode that AC Milan do like Nicholas Jackson. However, yesterday I did say that can't see. Where is it? Oh yeah, I did say that Chelsea are valuing him at £50 million. Well, that's now doubled for some reason, and it's unlikely that Chelsea would value him at less than £100 million. I don't know if I said that right. Okay, basically Chelsea value him at £100 million, which makes me read that and think, what the fuck are they on? There is no way in hell you're getting £100 million for Nicholas Jackson. I mean, I get why they put that price out there, because from what I've read, they want Nicholas Jackson to compete for that number 9 position, with Delap and João Pedro will basically just be a substitute player who will just be there to be used all across the attack. But this is where Chelsea's just not confusing, because they've just gone and bought 2 number 9s, basically, to try and compete with their currently shit number 9. And they don't, and the most recent number 9 they bought, they don't even want to use as a number 9. So who knows what's going on there. And then a bit more news, firstly regarding Newcastle, who announced the signing of Anthony Elanga from Nottingham Forest for £55 million. That's all confirmed. Here we go. I think last week now, actually. But that's all confirmed. Deal was done. All sealed. And yeah, honestly, I was surprised when I first saw this, because I honestly thought Elanga would stay and actually help Nottingham Forest in the Conference League after all they'd done in the last season, where they'd basically, until I think it was about April, they'd been in the top 4. And then they just fell off towards the end. But I honestly thought Elanga would actually stay and actually help Forest keep that momentum. So that's a shame. But anyway, and I do understand why Newcastle did get him, because they saw Mbamo only wanted United, because they were the other club that was interested in Brian Mbamo. But as Mbamo only wanted United, they thought, yeah, just get someone else. And so now, from what I've seen, Forest are looking to get Yohan Wissa as a replacement for Elanga. Stay tuned on this channel to see the developments that unfold on that. And then we have 2 more stories for tonight. Firstly, it's to do with Napoli, who have rejected Galatasaray's €70 million bid for Victor Osimhen. And do you know why they've rejected that bid? Because they want 75 million. I mean, for goodness sake, someone has really got to give here. Galatasaray basically breaking their own transfer record to try and get Osimhen, but Napoli don't want him. And Napoli don't want him, but they still want the £75 million price tag. It's euros, but still. Like, that doesn't really make sense. Why don't you just agree the deal so you can get him off your books and just get on with your lives? Just a bit of common sense is really needed here, I feel. And then finally, a bit more bizarre news. Nottingham Forest are set for legal action against Tottenham Hotspur. If you saw my video from last night, you would have seen that that Tottenham Hotspur activated Morgan Gibbs' White release clause. But now Nottingham Forest have reported that Tottenham are making a legal approach in their bid to sign Gibbs White, and now they're threatening legal action against Tottenham Hotspur. If you ask me, this is really just laughable, because it's just starting to look really petty. Like, I mean, I get that you don't really want Morgan Gibbs White to go, but threatening to sue Tottenham Hotspur is maybe a little bit far. And speaking of a bit far, it might have shown that Daniel Levy might have gone a bit too far. Could this spell the end for him? Who knows? I doubt it, I'll be so real. But, yeah. It was definitely a crazy day of transfers today. Stick around for tomorrow to see what else unfolds. Thank you very much, and goodbye.